Yes. Well, at least you can do that. I can imagine. Yes, to take the road somehow.
Hi. Well, I've just been in Manos delicatessen, Greek delicatessen, looking for Greek honey, and it's about 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, and the sun has come out, which is an unusual occurrence in Britain these days. So I'm going to try to answer the question, while it's still sunny and not too cold, where can I walk not too far from here that'll give me a pleasant half hour or so's exercise? And I'll make this into one of my Newcomers walks. I've done several of these, including one to the Plough in Wolvercote, showing people who are new to Oxford some routes which are easy to get to and have interesting, pleasant scenery, and which are not too difficult. Pretty close to the centre, a lot of them. I'm going to try Electric Road, which you'll see why it's called Electric Road when I get there. Starts from the end of Ferry Hinksey Road on the Botley side of the station bridge, and then continues to South Hinksey through some fields. It's a bit of a gamble because we've had quite a lot of rain recently, and there may be flooded patches which I can't cross, but I think it'll be okay, so I'm going to risk it. And I'm going to walk down from Manos, where I was looking for Greek honey, and I'm going to start the walk proper by the station bridge, which is the same place that I started a Newcomers walk to the Fishes pub in North Hinksey recently. I just happened to be this far up Walton Street, and as I say, was trying to think of a nice route to go that isn't too far from here, but I'm not at the moment interested in doing Walton Street itself, so I'm going to cut the video now and restart when I get to the station bridge. See you shortly. Well, a brief interruption. I've now come down to the bottom of Walton Street and turned right into Hythe Bridge Street, which is this. That's a pub called The Retreat opposite. And I'm now standing at the end of the canal, and I mention that because I did a Newcomers walk from Worcester College round here to the canal, and then up the canal to Jericho, over the canal bridge into the district of Jericho, and then back to Walton Street and back to Worcester College. So the walk I'm doing now to get to the station bridge, I pass part of that other walk, and the station bridge is straight ahead along Hythe Bridge Street and on, and I'll cut now and resume when I get to it. Well, I've just come to the end of Hythe Bridge Street, so I'm still pointing in the same direction towards the station and the station bridge, which are over there. And I've just noticed something This is the Saïd Business School, and there's something on the forecourt. So who is this guy? My first thought, they call economics the dismal science, and given that this is a business school, maybe this is a statue of an economist, possibly the first economist, as some would call him, Adam Smith. Actually, though, I think the clothing is too modern to be Adam Smith and not casual enough. That looks like a fairly modern vest that he has got on, open neck shirt over it, no tie. I think Adam Smith would have been more formally dressed. Rather worn hands, perhaps. A ring. Not much detail in the shoes, and I don't see any shoelaces. British, in Britain, the government official who organises the country's finances is called the Chancellor, or the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and is often photographed with a briefcase holding their papers for the yearly budget. And maybe this is a Chancellor. I think that's quite an old-fashioned bag, though. He's looking away from the Saïd Business School, which for which I can't blame him, actually. I've just noticed that the school has some little figures too inside it. There's one. There's another, maybe not particularly visible. Sit in the centre of the picture. Oh no, that's not one, that's a student. And, oh, there's another. And there's another. I don't know whether these people have any connection with the seated man. The Saïd used to display quite a lot of art. This corner room was used for art exhibitions, and in fact I've exhibited some of my cartoons here, but they haven't used it for that for quite a time, I believe. So who is this? Oh, well, this looks like an artist's statement. It's got the insignia of the university and the Saïd Business School on the left, and a QR code. Seated figure, 2016. Bronze, steel, exterior paint, 300 centimetres high, edition AP, last in an edition of 3. Sean Henry, born 1965. Seated figure has both an active and passive presence. We can see the tension in his shoulders and notice his steady focused gaze into the middle distance while his hands rest protectively on his bag. More specific ideas that we may bring to the sculpture remain in the mind of the viewer. What is he waiting for? Why has he turned his back to the business school? Who is he? The urban context here may lead the viewer in certain directions, but his anonymous figure is open to interpretation. Resolutely on his own, even when surrounded by people, the sculpture invites the viewer to connect with it and to consider filling in their own narrative.
Sorry, it's so good, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Do you know who the sculpture is?
There's a bit of information there. Your shadow's over it, but
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Henry.
Sean Henry.
But I don't know who Sean Henry is.
No. So good, so alive.
I know.
Alive,
Yes.
isn't it? It depends on individual
Yes.
what to expect.
That's right. So there he is, and as I say, I did wonder whether this was Adam Smith thinking up the science of economics, gazing over what might be imagined as a factory there, perhaps a pin factory, because he wrote about the division of labour using pin factories as an example and how tasks could be made more efficient. But I don't think the clothing quite fits. He has the same sort of presence as the window cleaner. You may not know who I mean by the window cleaner. He is a workman with a step ladder at the base of a tall building, and if I remember rightly, he's wearing a cap and his hand is pushing the cap aside slightly as he tilts his head back to look at all the windows in the very tall building behind him, and the statue is on or near the Paddington end of the Marylebone Road in London. Okay, well, I had to reshoot that because my phone lost the previous video segment that I took, and I'm not sure how far I'm going to be able to get with the electric road walk now because of these problems, but I'll try. I'm coming up to the station bridge. There's the seated man again. It'd be better if that barrier weren't in the way. And people who've seen my recent videos before will know that there's a huge amount of construction work on the railway bridge. It's been going on for years and it's not going to be finished until they claim August 2026, though as the date has already been pushed back, I'm sceptical about that. Normally, if the bridge were just in working order, one would just walk along here and carry on straight, come out the other side, and then be on Pουλάει Road, and then turn left a little bit further on, like I did when I was doing the Newcomers walk to the fishes in North Hinksey. But you get wiggled around a lot now, as you'll see in a minute. So we are going under the bridge and out to the other side, but with a lot of diversion. So now I've gone under the station bridge, come out to the other side, and I'm on the Pουλάει Road, which is that straight ahead of me. This is the south side of Pουλάει Road.
So we're getting some sort of like building. Looks like another like
Looks as though somebody is giving a cycle tour. This is Osney Bridge, and what goes under it is the Thames. And if you go left, then you can walk along the Thames to Folly Bridge, cross over, and then go down the bit where all the boathouses are, and carry on to Iffley.
Color.
Decision.
That is Botley Road continuing straight along, and this is Ferry Hinksey Road. And when I did the Newcomers walk to the fishes, I walked down to the end, almost to the end of this road, and then turned right, going along a lane parallel to Botley Road, and I walked to North Hinksey. What I'm going to do now is to walk down to the end of Ferry Hinksey Road again, but carry straight on. So here I am now on Ferry Hinksey Road. My phone lost some of the footage of me on this road, so I had to go back and reshoot that too. It started not saving stuff even when it claims to have saved it successfully. leaves are falling now. See them blowing off, drifting diagonally towards us. So when I did the Newcomers walk to the fishes, I walked along that lane there. This time I'm going to carry straight on. This is the end of Ferry Hinksey Road. That's the industrial estate. There's a path through it to the Thames. And to get onto Electric Road, I go down here. Then I ignore the gate and go round here. And this is the cable channel which runs to South Hinksey. And this is a permissive footpath, meaning that it isn't legally a public footpath, but the public can use it for walking in the same way. It was very raw when I came out of Manos. The sun was moderately bright, but the air was very, very damp, which made it feel terribly cold. Now it's really nice, and I can feel the sun warm on my back. That's the back of the industrial estate. Now, I walked along here earlier, and then this happened as well as on Ferry Hinksey Road. The phone didn't save the video, so I had to go back and reshoot, and I reckon there was about, maybe half an hour's difference. And the water here that was lying has dried up quite a lot in that time. And I'm hoping that when I get over the hump, there won't be anything lying in the depressions on the other side that stops me getting through. And indeed, it looks fairly clear, which is great. The main trouble with this walk is that you're never out of sound of the A34 on the right. That's a nice path to follow. It goes back to the Thames. And the weather for the past few days has been dreadful. It's just rain all the time, but it's lovely now, and there are other people than me taking advantage of it. and as you see, it's a very easy walk to follow. Now, given the state of my equipment, it's quite possible that I'll suddenly have to brake and won't then be able to tell you that that happened. So to get back to somewhere that you might call civilization, you just go to the end of this track. There's a footpath across it called the Devil's Backbone, and you just walk left along that, and eventually you come to a bridge over the railway and a lake, and you go over the bridge, come off the other end, and you're at the end of Lake Street, and Lake Street runs in that direction onto the Abingdon Road. And then if you turn left at the end of Lake Street, you go north up the Abingdon Road and eventually come to Folly Bridge and St Aldate's.
I'm struggling with mine.
There is a poem called November, which starts off something like, no sun, no leaves, no birds, no song, no joy, and ends November. And it's pretty bang on, but if all November afternoons were like this, I'd have no objection at all. I think the wind is from the south, which is keeping it nice and mild too. This is where the flooded bit tends to happen, but it looks okay today. And in the distance there, just in front of one of the pylons, I think I can now see bits of the fence. I said that at the end of this track there's a footpath that crosses it from left to right. Right goes to South Hinksey and left goes over the railway bridge and the lake and Lake Street. A footpath is called the Devil's Backbone, which is apparently a traditional name for a crooked path, a very crooked path. South Hinksey has been split in two by the A34 and doesn't now have anything in the way of pubs or cafes, though it's a pretty enough little village. If you go right through it, you come to the main road, and then you can cross that on the Chilswell Bridge, and then you can walk along the ridge on the other side there. You have to climb a little bit to the ridge and then come out on a path that takes you down through North Hinksey. And that's the Chilswell track, which is well worth doing. And I've done that in all seasons, but it can get a bit muddy in the winter. And I have to say, I'd be very happy to be wearing shorts now. I'm not. I'm wearing fairly light cotton flares, quite loose. But it's now warm enough for shorts and not too windy. The flares came from a shop called Unicorn in Ship Street, which has a load of vintage stuff that's been collected over many years. And these are some of it. And here's the Devil's Backbone. And South Hinksey is along there. That's where I've come. And doesn't it look idyllic? It's pretty near the dictionary definition of the word. And you could imagine Squirrel Nutkin hurrying along here with his bag of nuts or acorns. I don't actually know what Squirrel Nutkin did with his nuts. Do squirrels hibernate? Now I'm going towards the railway bridge. Hi.
The pylon? Yeah. You see that field over there? Yeah, that's the one that we walked to.
Oh, wait.
Around for Boar's Hill.
Yeah. 9 hot. Okay, that 9 hot. Almost 10.
probably shan't stay and watch because I'm running out of battery too. That's the railway going north, which roughly parallels the path I came on. That's the lake and the bridge over the lake, and if you look at my logo carefully, you'll see that that's where it's come from. That was the battery on the gimbal running out on the thing I hold the phone with, so I'm going to have to take a direct video without stabilisation. Right, so this is me on the flat bit of the bridge crossing the lake. And this is me off the bridge, coming to Hinksey Park. And Lake Street along there, and to the right, the red brick Victorian building is the Lake Street South Oxford Community Centre, formerly a water pumping station. And I'm going to go into Hinksey Park and sit and sort out my stuff. That's the lake. See you next time.